Hey Sketchy friends, so today I wanted to cover the subject of what is urban sketching. I know this is probably a video you would expect someone to cover at the beginning of a channel, but maybe some of you have only just discovered this channel, maybe some of you have only just discovered urban sketching. You know, at whatever stage, I think it's always good to look back at the roots of something that you're interested in and understand what it's all about and where it came from. So I'm sure I'm not going to do this entire subject complete justice, but I'm just going to do my best at just picking out some of the brief points and a bit of an overview of urban sketching that hopefully will lead you on to do some further research if it's something you're interested in, and to delve down the ever-growing rabbit hole that is urban sketching. So let's get into it. Urban sketching is a dynamic, expressive and community-driven form of art that captures the essence of city life through on-location drawing. The city part is something we'll get back to in a minute. It's more than just a hobby. It's a global movement that encourages artists of all levels to observe and interact and depict the world around them in real time. Urban sketching as a formal movement was created by Gabriel Campanario, a Seattle-based journalist and illustrator, in 2007. He started a Flickr group to share sketches and connect with like-minded artists around the world, and this quickly grew into a much larger movement, encouraging people to document their cities and their everyday life through art. Urban Sketchers is now a non-profit organisation, a formalised organisation, and they have their manifesto. I think they've renamed it now to Values and Vision, and it includes principles such as drawing on location, telling the story of your surroundings, and sharing your work online. And this has helped to create a supportive, definitely a supportive and very vibrant global community of urban sketchers who inspire and learn from each other. And that has certainly been my experience as well from all of the urban sketchers that I've met so far in various locations around the world. Definitely a really supportive and lovely community to be a part of. At its core, urban sketching involves going out into the city or any location, I would argue, and drawing what you see. And this could be anything from bustling markets to the peace and quiet of parks, to skyscrapers, quiet alleyways, anything like that. And the goal is to capture the moment and the spirit of the place. And often, not always, but often with quick and loose kind of illustrative style that reflects the vibrancy and immediacy of urban environments. I think the word urban can confuse matters sometimes. I know I've had people say to me, oh, well, I can't do urban sketching because I don't live in a city. So I do think that can be misleading, but you don't need to live in a city to do urban sketching. I've mainly lived in rural or suburban settings, and I still consider what I do to be urban sketching. The essence is that you're sketching what you see on location, whether it's a farmhouse or a city hall, it doesn't matter. And there's actually nothing in the Urban Sketchers manifesto or vision and values or whatever you want to call it that says you must only sketch in a city. There's nothing in there that says that. So just rolling back a bit, and I'm going to touch on this fairly briefly, but please do, go and do your own reading and research if this is something that interests you, which I'm sure it does, seeing as you're watching this video. But a bit of history on urban sketching and urban sketching before it was called urban sketching. It's not a new thing, and many people would have referred to sketching on location perhaps as plein air sketching. Some of the masters and artists of old, plein air sketches would be used as kind of studies and a precursor to then finishing a painting or producing a finished painting inside of a studio. But urban sketching also really has its roots in visual journalism and reportage illustration as well. I've actually got an article on urbansketchingworld.com that goes into more detail about this. But in short, reportage really took hold in the late 19th century. And that's not to say it didn't exist before that, but it really took roots in the late 19th century. And with sending artists off to cover major news events such as war. And if you think about it, courtroom artists are also a very well-known type of reportage illustrator throughout the decades as well. So they are there in the courtroom day after day recording the goings-on inside and recording the case visually. So that's a very well-known type of reportage illustrator that you might already be familiar with. A modern reportage illustrator that there's a good chance you may have heard of is George Butler, and he's regarded as a conflict artist. He travels all over the world reporting on events with his sketchboard and his ink and his watercolours. So he's got quite a few interviews around. You can search for him on YouTube. There's also some podcast interviews with him, that kind of thing. So I definitely recommend checking out his work because he's a really good example of a modern day reportage illustrator. And if you're interested in reading some more about reportage illustration, I highly recommend this book by Gary Embry and Mario Minicello. There's lots of information, case studies, interviews with reportage illustrators, that kind of thing. So it's a really good grounding if that subject matter is of interest to you. And you can kind of see how urban sketching does have its roots in reportage illustration because Gabriele Campanario is actually a journalist himself as well. So while we are on the subject of books, I can highly recommend two books with a wide range of urban sketching examples from all over the world. It's a really good place to start to learn more about the different styles of urban sketching as well. The first book is by Gabby Campanario himself, and that is called The Art of Urban Sketching. And the second is almost a follow-up, really, in some respects. I think it was published a good 10 years after this one. I think this one was released in 2014 or 2013, maybe even 2012 actually. And then this one was released in 2022. And this is The World of Urban Sketching by Stephanie Bauer. So they're nice big books. So you can see I've bookmarked a few areas. They're nice big books. They've got beautiful imagery inside of them, nice big pictures, and some text. So really recommend getting those two books as a starter. And then another series of books are the Urban Sketching Handbooks, which are quite popular. So they cover a variety of different aspects of urban sketching. Each book is on a different subject matter. This one is Drawing Expressive People by Roisin Curé. So each book is written and illustrated by a very prominent urban sketcher, but there's also sketches from different artists in these books as well. So also very nice books to have. I only have this one as a physical copy. All the others I have as ebooks, which I then look at on my iPad screen because it's obviously a colour screen. I wouldn't look at them on the Kindle, my black and white Kindle. But yeah, if you've got like a tablet, then the ebooks are a good compromise if you can't get hold of the physical copies so easily. So urban sketching comes with a nice big global community. It's grown significantly since its inception. Urban sketchers often gather for what's called a sketch crawl. This is where groups of people meet up to draw together at various locations. These events are not only opportunities to sketch, but they're also opportunities to connect with like-minded individuals, to share techniques and get inspired by different perspectives as well. Most cities around the world have an urban sketching chapter. It's quite amazing. I accidentally bumped into some urban sketchers when I travelled to Edinburgh. I was on the top of Carlton Hill sketching. Someone came over to me and was like, "Oh, are you with the Urban Sketchers?" And I was like, I'm not here, but like I am a member of Urban Sketchers Johannesburg. And they were like, "Oh no, there's a bunch of us meeting up here today to sketch here," and from all over the UK as well. They were kind of on like an urban sketching holiday. It was like, it's really, really cool. So I got chatting to them, realised that I already followed a couple of them on Instagram, and it was just a really interesting moment, you know, of disparate people meeting up, sketching on a hill in Edinburgh. Whereas when I was in Spain earlier this year, and I very deliberately looked up when the Urban Sketchers Sevilla chapter was meeting, because that's where I was. And I was there over a weekend, and I was very lucky that it was the International Urban Sketchers Week that week. So they were doing something every single day. So I did manage to meet up with them on the Saturday. So it just shows you can travel anywhere, mostly, and you'll find a group of urban sketchers that you can go and join and sketch with. Joining the Urban Sketchers Johannesburg chapter when I first moved here really changed the game for me. I always considered myself as a solo sketcher, a solo traveller, just a bit of a lone wolf really, but joining the group here has just opened up a whole other level of enjoyment of urban sketching for me. And now in my mind, the only thing better than urban sketching is urban sketching with people. And I never thought I would say that. So please do check out if you've got an Urban Sketchers chapter near you. You'll be surprised, they are everywhere. But do go and check it out. Everyone is really nice and really welcoming from everything that I've experienced so far. Moving on from that, there is something called the Urban Sketchers Symposium, which is an annual event organised by the non-profit International Urban Sketchers organisation. And the symposium serves as like a gathering for sketchers of all levels to learn, share, and just celebrate the art of urban sketching as well. So some key aspects of the symposium are that there are workshops and demos by experienced, well-known urban sketchers, and they can cover various techniques, styles and mediums, and they provide hands-on sort of learning as well. There are sketch walks throughout the 3 days as well. You can participate in group sketching sessions where we explore different parts of the host city, so wherever the symposium is being held, and capturing the essence through sketches as well. So it just encourages like community building and allows people to practice sketching in diverse environments through the city as well. There's also lectures and panels on a variety of different topics relating to urban sketching. Another key aspect is networking and community building. So it's just such a great way to meet other urban sketchers. And I'm really shy, and I would say I'm an introvert. But yeah, like after a few seconds of being at the symposium last year in Auckland, I met some people, made some friends. One of them very much will be a really good friend for life. So yeah, and we're going to the next symposium together as well, which is in Buenos Aires. So that's just someone I wouldn't know otherwise that I've met through urban sketching. And because the symposium is held in different cities each year, it's a bit of a cultural exchange. So people get a chance to experience sketching in different urban landscapes and that kind of thing. So the symposium is a really important event for anyone who's passionate about urban sketching, offering education, inspiration, and the opportunity to meet other urban sketchers. I know it's not in reach financially for everyone, but it does move around the world each year. So hang in there and just see if one comes close to you at some stage. Last year was in New Zealand, which is extremely far away for a lot of people, but it was just worth every penny, and every second of it was awesome. If you do want to check out my thoughts and experiences of that, it was my first ever urban sketching symposium that I'd been able to attend, because previously I hadn't been able to afford it, or I'd been in a different part of the world. It just wasn't accessible to me, but I did get to go last year, and that was awesome. And I have made the commitment to go this year as well. This year it's being held in Buenos Aires in Argentina. But yeah, if you'd like to hear my thoughts on last year's symposium, you can check out this video, which I'll link in the corner. And if you want to find out more about this year's symposium, or whenever you're watching this, the next one, you can visit urbansketchers.org, and they'll have all of the information up there as well. So just quickly then, moving on to the benefits of urban sketching, I would say definitely improves your observation skills. It forces you to pay attention to details you might otherwise overlook. The amount of times I've heard people say, "Oh, I've never noticed that before, and I've been coming here for 15 years, or that kind of thing. That's what urban sketching does to you. It increases your creativity. So, there is an unpredictable nature of sketching on location, and it can spark new ideas and creative approaches as well. Personal growth, I think. It builds confidence and your technical skills, and I can definitely say that is true from my experience. I also agree with the fact that it's quite a mindful thing to do, and it can be relaxing. It can be a bit stressful as well, but it's definitely a mindful thing, because I promise you, I don't think about anything else other than what I'm drawing for, 1, 2, 3 hours, depending on how long I have. So I do think it can be a bit of a meditative practice, and it also allows you to really connect with your environment. I've found that really important moving from a different part of the world and making Johannesburg my home. I've really connected to the city through sketching and through meeting other people who are interested in sketching as well. So just a few quick tips on how to get started with urban sketching. I really encourage you to start simply. I would say just use a sketchbook and a pen or a pencil, and then as you get more comfortable you can start adding more things in. As a lot of you probably already know, a lot of urban sketchers, not all of them, but a lot do use watercolour. That's like a whole other ball game. So I really would encourage you just to kind of get drawing first and just focus on that. Another thing is to really observe and be intentional on what you choose to draw. I found that a lot of beginners will just plonk themselves down and try and draw the most complicated, crazy angle of something that's like, I just wouldn't choose to do that. I want to make life easy for myself. So if possible, try and sit square onto something, reduce like any kind of perspective issues for yourself. Just make life easier for yourself as you get started. And then, you know, as you progress and you're practicing more, drawing more, then you can choose the more crazy angles to draw from. I definitely think you need to embrace imperfection. Urban sketching is about capturing the moment and not creating a perfect drawing. That is definitely something to bear in mind. Embrace the imperfections. They do add character and authenticity to your work as well. So yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. The next one is practice regularly. The more you sketch, the better you'll get. It's just that simple. Make it a habit to carry your sketchbook and draw whenever you can. Don't put too much pressure on yourself because that can ruin things as well. But just, you know, if you have it with you, then when you do feel like drawing, you can get it out and start drawing. There's a lot of distractions out there. There's a lot of YouTube videos like this one that is distracting you from actually just getting pen to paper. You can watch all of the YouTube videos you want, all of the Domestika courses you want, but it's not going to make you any better. You might be more knowledgeable, but it's not going to make you any better at drawing. So just get drawing. The final one I'd like to mention is just join a community. This is something I'd be like, yeah, not interested. But it really is the thing that has impacted me the most. Joining the Urban Sketchers chapter here and also attending other meetups from other urban sketching chapters around the world, and also the Symposium as well. And if you don't have an urban sketching chapter near you, just try and find some other people who are into drawing and encourage them to draw on location with you, whether it's just over a cup of coffee or whatever. Start your own thing, you can do it. So I really hope this video has given you a good quick overview of urban sketching and the history and where it's come from. Again, it's this kind of like quite a surface level video, but at least you've got an idea now of what it involves and you can go down the various different rabbit holes, read more, watch more, depending on what you're interested in. Please do come and join me over on prettysketchy.tv if you want loads of tutorials on all different styles of urban and travel sketching, different subject matters, how to draw scenes, anything you can think of. Please do check it out. The link is in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next video.